Take 272. Just kidding. Um, Today's conversation is about passion and purpose. I'm not sure about either. I was tasked with talking about what my passion and what my purpose is. And when I sit down to think about either one, I just think, okay, I have a bunch of ingredients, a bunch of tools, and I don't know what the recipe is. And so I believe my passion has something to do with the ingredients, and then the purpose is whatever the recipe is going to be. And the issue is, if you don't know what the recipe is, you can't prep anything. You can't properly combine the ingredients or properly prep the ingredients so that way they are ready for your recipe. And every time I think I know what the recipe is, I get an extra ingredient or an ingredient is taken away, and I get so frustrated because I'm like, hey God, I'm here to help you. I'm here to be, the cake baker or the ultimate chef up in your kitchen, but you're not you're not showing me which recipe I'm supposed to be making. So that's not fair to blame God either. But when I sit down and I talk to other people about what their recipe is and what ingredients they use, it becomes evident that none of us really know what we're cooking up. And then at the same time, we have all these ingredients that we're actually sharing the ingredients. And a little bit of my peppers, giving them to you, doesn't make my pepper any less. And that's the abundance mindset. And I want to help people be their better chefs, like be their best chef self, and figure out what we can create with their ingredients that they have. And I think sometimes knowing that you have all of those ingredients available, you just start cooking. You just start, hey, let's try this baked chicken recipe. And you're like, okay, that wasn't what I was supposed to be doing. Let's try the grilled chicken recipe. And you head outside and you cook it up. And that's not your recipe. Then you say, okay, we're gonna do this barbecue something. I don't know what to think, but you get that different recipe every single time as you're trying to figure out what is your recipe. And I think even still, when you see the people that you're like, oh, they have what their recipe is, they decide to switch recipes and try something different. And so ultimately, there is no one recipe. It's more of a cookbook. And as you hold your ingredients and you keep giving them out and you keep creating your recipes, you are creating this cookbook. And all of that combined together is ultimately what your passion is. The multiple different recipes with the multiple different ingredients. And sometimes you use all of them and sometimes you use some of them. And you always cook it with love and you always cook it with the passion. But we get scared to cook. And being scared to cook, we're just standing around in the kitchen. And God wants us to cook. The universe keeps giving us ingredients so we can cook. But we won't cook. And that's me, a cookless chef. But the advice that I keep getting is be comfortable being uncomfortable. So, putting on my chef hat, I'm putting on my apron, I'm sitting here in front of you, and I'm reminding you to get your ingredients together, make a damn recipe, and create your cookbook. Create your cookbook. Go in the garden, get the fresh herbs, go to the store, get your milk, pour it out. If you spill some on the counter, it's okay, it's fine. Just cook the damn recipe. I wasn't trying to be mean either. Nicely, cook the recipe, please. Somebody got to eat with that. Like, you stopping from completing your recipe is the more somebody doesn't get to eat. Oh gosh, this all makes sense. Like this whole metaphor is making sense to me, myself. I'm talking to me. I'm talking to you, but I'm talking to me. Get your ingredients together. Pick a recipe. Cook it. Put it in your cookbook. So the world can have something to go by. I think the cookbook is ultimately your legacy. What are you going to leave behind? I'm going to leave behind talking to myself in public and feeling uncomfortable. That's what I'm going to do.